Welcome back to Peak Speed Lab 164, where gravity and mass meets friction, and the ramp decides the results. Been a couple of days since I've been able to post, graduation I mentioned in a previous video, going away party, crazy weekend, but we're back at it to enjoy the 164 scale diecast happiness and enjoy some time with you all, my fellow diecaster blasters. So we are. Oh, before I continue, hopefully you're subscribed. You don't want to miss out on this giveaway. Boom, the Batmobile Hot Wheels Silver Series. All these vehicles brand new in box. As soon as we hit 66 subscribers, we are at 39 last I looked. So I don't know. It's going to be a slow burn, but that's okay. I don't mind. I'm going to do this anyway. Might as well join me. So, especially if you love these vehicles. I mentioned in the previous video, and I'm looking over there because that's where other tracks are going to be, but I need to, in the next week or so, set up the 164 scale quarter-mile drag strip and then also the distance track so we can get the full range of performance out of these vehicles. So it's not just about speed, it's about how they can carry their speed, how they maintain their speed, or how they, or how they bleed off their speed, their momentum, their velocity, any term you. So, all right, enough about that. Let's move on. We've got 4 cars from the Exotic Cars line, and it's actually numbers 1 through 4 from Hot Wheels. And these are the cars, CVS, couple of bucks, $1.50, $2 at your local, drugstore, grocery store, toy store, hobby store, etc. The 4 cars we have are boom. And we will, whoa, look at that. I'm going to go this way. Look at this diagonal. This is, wait a minute. Is this Baroque or is this Baroque? One of them is Sinister Angle. One of them is Baroque Angle. Baroque. If any art folks out there, especially history of art, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, look it up. It's kind of fun to learn about something new that if you don't know about it and you're interested in learning, take a look at Baroque Angle versus Sinister Angle. So we've got a 2016 Lamborghini Centenario Roadster. Now, again, I'm going to unbox these in a minute. We have a Gordon Murray Automotive T.33. That's number 2 of 10. There are actually 10 cars in this line, but I just have the first 4. We have the McMurtry Speirling. Okay. And then we have the Pagani Zonda Cinque. Anyway, this looks almost like a Toon kind of a thing going on here, but we're going to still run them, even though, because remember, while I'm going to run them together to make it a little more interesting for folks watching, they're still competing within themselves with, again, short form drag strip time. Then we're going to do the 164 scale quarter mile drag strip for speed. And then we're doing the distance for distance. So then we have a formula. We're going to put all this together where we're going to rate our top 10 cars based on plastic tires versus rubber tires. We're still measuring weight so we can keep track to see if that eventually becomes more of an influence, if you will, a factor in these cars and how they run. Right now it's kind of a distant second, but all the rest of like I was measuring 15, all aspects of the cars, finding that for the most part wasn't really anything. There were no patterns that we picked up, and now we're now in the 50s of cars that we've run on this channel. So I'm trying to be a little more efficient so we can do things that are like a little more interesting for folks who are watching. So we're running multiple cars together now, but we're still going to be tracking them and rating them individually. So they're not really competing, but we're still going to race them as a race together, and then we're going to track the results. So as always, 20 warm-up laps are going to get, and then we're going to do 10 official laps, take the average lap time. This is for the short form drag strip. Average time, then we put that in. So that's one test that we're doing. And then when we do the others, there'll be 2 lanes for the quarter mile drag strip, and they will have 1 run in each lane, no warm-ups. And then for the distance, it's going to be 1 lane. They're going to be no warm-ups, and it's just, however far they go, we're gonna, they'll get a number, a rating based on their times, based on their results, and then we're gonna, so then we'll put them in their top 10 in their respective categories. So as the top 10, or as we move through more cars, we may have cars that get bumped out of their top 10 status. That's going to be kind of interesting. We'll see if anybody's favorites stay in or if they not, hey. Okay, so I feel like I've probably rambled enough. Why don't we get on to it? We've got these cars to open, so let's start some unboxing. Let's take a look at these cars up close, okay? So we're going to do the 1 through 4 in the order that they are labeled. Okay, so this is number 1. Actually, we'll move that up. That's what it looks like in box. We've got the 16 Lamborghini Centenario Roadster. We've got the back exotic supercars, always ready to race. Well, we'll see if that's true. Got the label here of the car itself, little pic. This is number 1 of 10. Nothing else. They don't have pictures of the other cars on here. So this is the exotic cars again. The case. You can typically tell this is going to be the standard, $1.50, $2. Bottom right, here we go. Blister pack time. Uh-oh. Oh, look at that. Boom. Like butter. Grateful Sam shout out once again. He did not steer me wrong on that. So let's look up close. The Lambo here. Look at that. I always like that, see a clean badge on these 1/64 scale vehicles. If you saw well, we have a video coming up. So by the time you'll see this video, you'll see maybe you'll take a look at some of the other ones. We've had a lot of other brands now that we've taken a closer look at in the lab and that are testing. So we're not just doing Hot Wheels. We're doing anything that I come across that is at that 1/64 die-cast, 1/64 scale die-cast vehicles. And there are quite a few brands out there. Oh yeah, look at this top. It's kind of a cool little backing. I like when you can see the details in the driver's seat area, the cockpit. All right, so this car was made in, it's going to be, I bet you probably see it already. Yeah, there it is, Malaysia. Yeah. And plastic. I'm going to expect these are all going to be basically plastic chassis with plastic wheels. But now we always like to do the roll test. Oh, not bad. We'll set this one aside. On to number 2 of 10. This is the exotic car 2 of 10. As you see, the Gordon Murray Automotive T.33. Again, same line, same packaging. So, bottom right, here we go. Yeah, so this just no real difference. If there's a difference in the other two, I'll show you, but only difference is like the name of the car. No other special info. So we'll toss that aside. We'll do the close-up. So the other one is also a yellow, but I think, yeah, I just noticed up close the yellow kind of rims. So this one, it looks pretty slick. So I was at an event with my nieces and nephews yesterday at a local event, Strawberry Festival, and part of that had a little bit of a car show. Very cool, old school muscle cars. Your classic cars, Caddies, Chevelles, Oldsmobiles, really. All right, we're now on this side, track side. We had track side, rack side, short-term drag strip side, or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, we're about to do the 20 warm-up laps. Finished measuring in, a couple of updates. We are no longer doing the hub-to-hub measurement for the plastic wheel cars. We're still going to track them for the rubber. When I say wheels, but tires. But for the rubber-tired cars, we will, because there does seem to be an interesting kind kind of like a predictable aspect to the hub distances, hub measurements for front and back. But anyway, we're still going to continue with the weight measurement and center of gravity for the for all the cars, and then we're still going to break down the discrete categories of plastic tires versus rubber tires, top 10. Okay, but right now we've got the warm up of these four exotic cars from the Hot Wheels Exotic Cars line, numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 of 10. And I don't know. We just tested the track. I think everything's ready to go. So why don't we head up there? The starting gate's over there. So why don't you join me over there? As always, we want to make sure things are properly seated, even though we're not checking time, just making sure the lever's good. We want to make sure that they're centered in their lanes. We've got 20 to go. As always, here's the inaugural. We always got to do the first run on video for the warm up. Whoo! Okay, 1.87. We're going to do these. Let's see how these turn out. Now, keep in mind when I read, you know what? I'll save that story for later. All right. I hope you're going to stay. Hope you're going to stay tuned. Just wrapped up the 20 laps, warm up laps, and what I was going to say a second ago. Now I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't even remember. There. Oh, I remember now. Okay, so we're talking about lap times for the short form drag strip. Plugged in the numbers, the track geometry, etc., into the computer to kind of figure out what would be the absolute fastest possible lap time we could get from the short form drag strip, again based on the current geometry, and it was right around like 1.5 seconds. So just over. So for the most part, these cars running, 1.8, 1.9, sometimes 2. Every once in a while we'll get a 1.7. Haven't seen anything in the 1.6 yet that I can recall, much less getting anywhere closer. So while these, this little bit of time, tenths of a second, don't seem big, they really kind of are when you think about them in the aspects of the distribution of lap times and speed that we're getting on this track. Does that make sense? I hope so. If it does, please explain to me, because I have no idea what I'm talking about. So anyway, I've been racking my brain trying to figure out what we can do here. But hey, if we see something that really becomes an outlier, that'll be fun. So we always have some things to look forward to. It's always the whole like, hey, it's just going, things are working as designed, and then all of a sudden something crazy happens, and then whoa, all right, here we go. Okay, enough about that. Here we go. Here we go, and here we go. I know. Here we go. I keep saying that, and I keep saying so. I don't think I say like all the time anymore. I don't know. And I say I don't know. Let's yeah. All right, we're back. We're back. We're gonna go to the 10 official laps, see how these average out with starting with lap 1, and again up at the starting gate, which is up there. So meet me over there, please. So we'll see you in a sec. We had a bit of a snafu. So I had started doing lap 10. We did the beginning after showing the the car seated in their lanes. And as the video was happening, my phone popped up that phone storage was full. I had received a couple of these notes recently, but I thought I'd cleared enough out. So I had to do a major clear out of the phone. So anyway, we're going to resume. They're going to get the full 10 laps. We're about to do the first lap. The one we're just going to have to scrub because we had the issues with the phone and not really the system, but the phone. And then I had to reset the data. So I had to clear what was in there from the warm-up laps and then reset it. So starting fresh, 10 official laps. We're turning it back around. So we're just gonna keep this bad boy going. All right, here we go, over at the starting gate. So again, look at how properly seated they are. This is gonna be the official lap 1 of the official 10 laps. And boom. So one of the things I had noticed, this 187 for the Lambo there is pretty consistent. These cars are running pretty consistently. So As always, let's cue music. We'll see what the other 9 laps bring us. Well, we'll say the next 8 laps, and then I'll be back for lap 10 as usual. So enjoy the show. We're about to run lap 10. You can see the results thus far. That's the Lambo in lane 1. We've got, that's Gordon Murray, lane 2, and then lane 5, that McMurtry. Lane 6 is the Pagani, the Toon. So you'll see these have been going back and forth pretty good. So it's almost like these two are competing with each other. These two are competing with each other, but this Lambo is pretty much always running the fastest. So I don't know. Here we go. Lap 10. Let's bring us back over. We're gonna film it from this side again. Trying to do a little something different, give you some different camera angles. There we go. Woo! There we go. Let's get it into the database, see how this shapes up. Welcome back to Peak Speed Lab 164, where gravity and mass meet friction, and the ramp decides the results. We're back at the computer side of the lab. The racetrack is on the other side, or the short form drag strip. Today feels like it's been quite a little bit of a rambly video. So if that is how it's coming across, my bad. Sorry about that. It's been a few days. So I'm kind of trying to get back into the groove. Anyway, here we go. So let's look at the average run of the 10 official laps. We have that yellow Lambo, lane 1. The average was 1.8771 seconds. The Gordon Murray, which is the other yellow vehicle, which is in lane 2, average was 1.8936 seconds. So once again, we're talking like a couple of hundredths of a second off. So, very quick. But in the scheme of things, I guess, we can argue whether what's quick and what's not. Because if you keep dividing numbers in half, you can do that like ad infinitum. So is there really an end? Is there really a... Okay, there I go again. So let's go back to McMurtry. That's the blue vehicle. Average time was 1.9514 seconds. It was also it looked like a little bit of a shorter wheelbase because the Toon Pagani was at Pagani was 1.9556 seconds. So that was a difference of like less than 4 thousandths of a second. Like, so close. Those two were, like I said a little bit ago, were almost competing against each other, while the other two were kind of competing against each other. Once again, they're all competing for themselves because we've got two more track systems for them to be tested on before we determine the top 10 in the plastic wheel category or tires and the rubber tire category. Yeah, that's it. So as usual, respecting the inspiration, the folks involved in these making of these cars. etc. We're going to give these four their moment of glory on the lighted spinning pedestal. So enjoy. Did anybody catch the last Easter egg? Hope so.